welcome to a packed flight line here at RAF Lakenheath. As well as visiting F-16s from Aviano, the base is home to a squadron of F-15Cs and 2 squadrons of F-15Es. Today we got a real treat, a guided tour of an F-15E Strike Eagle by a pilot from the 494th Fighter Squadron, the mighty Black Panthers.
Hey everybody, welcome to sunny England and the mighty Black Panthers. I'm Voodoo Culver. I'm an F-15E Strike Eagle pilot here with the 494th Fighter Squadron, the finest, baddest, meanest fighter squadron in the Air Force. I'm going to show you the F-15E Strike Eagle today. So as you can see, this is the biggest fighter in the fleet, has the most muscle. It carries the most weapons and shoots the most missiles. It has the finest radar in the fleet. We're capable of doing anything from multi-role, air-to-air, air-to-ground, full spectrum missions here in the European theater. For the initial walk-around, you notice that we're going to look at the overall condition of the jet. What we're looking for is making sure that the airplane is clean, undamaged. Our maintainers here at RAF Lakenheath and the 48th Fighter Wing, Liberty Wing, are the best in the Air Force. They're going to take care of these planes. They're going to make sure they're safe to fly. It's our job as the air crew to go out and make them deadly. This air nose cone houses a number of different systems. It's the primary location for the radar. We have 2 different radars that we're going to essentially execute with. It's an APG-70. That's an old school mechanically scanned array. We also are getting the APG-82 in the Air Force to make the Strike Eagle even deadlier. That radar gives us the capability to do multi-targeting plus advanced capabilities that are going to carry us well into 2030 and beyond. Strike Eagle is going to be king in air-to-air with that. Moving back, I'm going to check the overall pitot-static system. I have an AOA system as well that's going to tell me various angle of attacks in the different phases of flight that I'm in, as well as keeping me safe and telling me the airspeed that I've got, whether that be on final or whether that be Mach 2.5 about to shoot a missile. So it goes the full spectrum, full range, all the way up to 50,000 feet and down. So inside of these bays, I'm typically going to open those up. Those are going to have electronic systems inside. Some of them are combat related, some of them are related to daily flying operations. It's no different than any other airplane you're going to see out there. You're going to have to check that the avionics are working properly, and that's essentially part of what I'm going to look at in here. As we come back to the nose wheel, you can see our pilots are the finest in the Air Force. The wheel's parked dead center on that taxi line. We execute to perfection. If you look inside, we're going to check the different circuit breakers and make sure nothing's popped in the bit window. It's going to tell us engine condition. It's going to tell us the various things that may be wrong with the jet. This is a variable inlet. It's going to control airflow to the engine through all stages of flight, whether I'm at 180 knots on final or, like again, Mach 2 plus out there in the fight. Produces roughly 30,000 pounds of thrust times 2, so we're looking at 60,000 pounds of thrust. It's enough to do everything we need to do and more. Those are special because they allow us to not only carry additional fuel that supplements our range, makes it more combat effective, but also have what's called bomb rack units. I'm going to check the condition of the fuel tank, make sure that it's not damaged in any way. Again, additional fuel for the jet. I'm going to check the general condition of the missile rails. Anything from heaters to long-range weapons. That's going to be the primary place where we're going to hang our missiles. So when we go out there for an air-to-air fight, I'm going to pre-flight all the things that I'm going to need to look at for that particular operation. Continuing on, you'll notice standard ailerons and flaps. So this is an extremely dangerous kind of area. When we're doing the pre-flight, we make sure that the chief is out of the way, any ground personnel before we touch the stick. This is going to come down with 3,000 psi force, and that could do a lot of damage to our personnel. These are the burner cans. So if you can imagine, at night you have a 60-foot blue plume of full reheat coming out of both engines. This tail hook is fully capable of stopping the airplane on a ground arrestment system located on the runway. That hook goes down and we take a cable. Typically I'll use that in the event of a hydraulic emergency. Moving around, I'm going to make sure, obviously before we blast, all these little red covers are going to be out of the jet. The chiefs and the maintenance operators here at Lake Neath do a great job making sure that's never a factor for us. They're going to take those out. Walking around again in the back, once again, flaps, ailerons, fuel tank, bruise. Interesting capability on the 229. I'm going to make sure that these are additional air intakes that feed some of the systems on the jet. I'm going to make sure those are also clear. Coming up to the front of the system, same, just like on the other side. I'm going to make sure that all the missile rails are good to go, the bomb rack units are good to go. Make sure that the conformal fuel tanks are in the proper setting. That's this little white dial right here. I'm going to check that on every sortie. Make sure it's what I expect it to be for the sortie. As we come around the other side, I've already checked the gear. I'm going to look again in the panels and make sure that those systems are all what I expect them to be. That's where we house all of our computer systems and electronic systems. What we're looking at right here is the nav pod. This is a lantern, so low altitude terrain following infrared for night. Long acronym. I can take this thing and fly it all the way down to 500 feet or lower, depending on the mission as required. And it will sweep and let me know of any threats that I can't see with either my eyeballs at night, which is basically nothing, or my night vision goggles, which work in different regimes depending on how dark it actually is outside and what the weather conditions are. This sees all that terrain and it couples up to our flight control system and it keeps us safe from the rocks. On the other side of the jet, we always carry a targeting pod. So this is the Sniper Advanced Targeting Pod, primarily run by the Wizzo in the back seat. They're going to use this to do all of the various things that we do in the air-to-ground mission. So they're going to be able to designate targets, guide in those laser-guided weapons. So a lot of times in the deployed environment right now, this is the sensor on the airplane that's getting the heaviest amount of work. And our fine Wizzos in the back seat do all the heavy lifting with this sensor right here. And then from there, we're ready to roll. Myself as the pilot and my crew mate as the Wizzo, we're going to strap up, get our G-suits ready to go, get our helmet bags, we're going to climb up the ladder, and we're going to get ready to go execute the mission. So welcome to the cockpit of the Mighty Mighty. This is where we do all the business. As the pilot in the front seat, I'm primarily responsible for the items associated with safety of flight, aircraft commander. So I'm going to operate the systems that operate the flight controls, the power, the pitch, the roll. I'm going to maneuver the airplane during flight to get in the regime where we're going to kill and survive. My partner in crime in the back seat, the weapons systems officer, is going to be responsible for targeting all the weapons. So as we say in the Strike Eagle, I'm going to roll the boat, they're going to shoot the ducks. That's what makes us the most dynamic and advanced fighter in the United States Air Force. The crew coordination between the front seat and the back seat, between running the weapon systems and shooting the missiles and bombs, finest in the world. Welcome to the rear cockpit of the Strike Eagle. This is the primary cockpit where all of our mission systems rely. This is the majority of the mission gets done from the back seat. I'm a card-carrying Wizzo, so I can actually sit back here, try to give you a feel for what it's like to be a Wizzo in the back seat of the Strike Eagle. Obviously, the biggest thing is you're not up front, so you don't have that view off the nose. I have an ejection seat that sits in front of me, so primarily a lot of my time is under this big canopy, looking left and right, and clearing in the aft, making sure to check 6 so we have any threat conditions monitored with good crew coordination. Inside of the back seat of the Strike Eagle, I have the other half of all the circuit breakers. It's a fully missionized cockpit. We can't really fly it and be effective without one another. That's what makes us, once again, the most lethal and unique fighter in the force. I've got a full set of throttles back here, so I can actually execute whatever I need to do with dynamic maneuvering. I've got a stick and throttle. I can do that to fly the jet, fully fly the jet, land the jet from the back seat as required. The unique thing about the back seat, I've got 4 full monitors back here that allow me to spread out the systems and information to maximize the SA in the cockpit. Also have a radio control unit as well as backup flight instruments, full set of rudder pedals, and then these 2 hand controllers that are down here, those effectively take my hands and put them on each screen. They're like a mouse. They have hands-on throttle and stick on there as well, so HOTAS, and they allow me to control the mission systems from the back seat. Fully ejection seat capable, and so truly this is what makes the Strike Eagle so effective. Panthers are coming back from the flight. That's what we like to see. Cheers. Everybody, thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed the tour of the F-15E Strike Eagle here, the 494th Fighter Squadron, finest, baddest, meanest.